Hello, my dear friends. Today I'm talking about when to cast a horary chart. So, horary is a sharp, surgical, honest, and sometimes a little rude way of doing astrology. It's a combination between moment and intention, and you can get an answer. The biggest mistake is casting a horary at the wrong moment, or for the wrong type of question, or with the wrong mindset. So, I want to give you a guide to know when is the best moment to cast a horary chart and when to not do it. So, horary works because the question has a birth chart, just like a human, a business, whatever. The moment produced a chart, but your question can only be born when three things happen simultaneously. You genuinely want the answer, you emotionally feel the weight of the question, and the question becomes real, not hypothetical, not, I wonder. So this means curiosity doesn't create a horary chart. Anxiety does. Urgency does. Desire does. Commitment does. Actual responsibility does. If your question is emotionally charged, alive, and pressing, then good. You have just created the perfect seed for a horary moment. So let's unpack exactly how and when to cast the chart. Rule number 1. Cast a horary only when the question is genuine and pressing. This is not about curiosity, procrastination, entertainment, or I'm bored, let's see if Mars wants to gossip. No. Horary is a form of divination rooted in necessity. So you cast a horary when you need clarity. You must make a decision. You've reached an emotional climax. Something is at stake. You are blocked from knowing by normal means. Example of questions. Will I get this job I applied for? Will he text me back? Where is my missing cat? Should I invest in this business? These are good questions. But is Brad Pitt thinking about me? This is a joke. Will humans colonize Mars in the next century? Is Beyoncé secretly an alien? Stupid questions, of course. Okay, this is a very, let's say, good for conspiracy stuff, but they are not horary questions. The universe doesn't answer trivial questions in horary because your fate is not involved in them. Cast the chart at the moment you fully form the question. The cosmos responds when the question crystallizes in your mind, not when you start thinking about it, or talk about it with a friend, or half dream it, or wonder about it 2 hours earlier. The horary moment is when you say internally, I really need to know this right now. That's the birth of the chart, of your question. If you cast the chart too early, the chart is foggy. If you delay casting, the chart becomes irrelevant. Horary is like ripe fruit. You must pick it at the right moment. Rule number 3. The question must be specific enough for the universe to answer. Horary hates vague questions, poetic questions, philosophical questions, or multi-layered existential spirals. Example of bad questions: what is the meaning of my life? Another one. Will I ever be happy? Another one. What is my purpose? But horary wants this kind of questions. Should I take the job offer from company X? Is he serious about this relationship? Or where is the ring I lost? It's about accuracy of the question. Rule 4. Ask only one major question for each chart. Actually, this rule is a rule people love to break. You cast a horary for love or money or career or lost objects. Not for will I find my cat, will my ex return, and will my business grow? There are 3 questions here, yeah. The universe is not a customer service desk where you submit a ticket with 18 unrelated questions or requests. 1 question for 1 chart. And in this way, you get a clear answer. Rule number 5. Do not cast a new horary for the same question. This is called chart shopping, and Saturn will not be amused. If you cast and read a chart and you don't like the answer, you cannot cast again. You can cast again if circumstances have genuinely changed, or new information appears, or a new angle of the situation emerges. Otherwise, no. Let's see 7 types of questions that are perfect for horary. For love and relationship. This is the most common category, and for a good reason. Love makes people impulsive, panicked, hopeful, or dramatic, which is exactly the emotional state horary understands. So ideal questions can be: will we get back together? Does this relationship have a future? Is he or she cheating? Should I give this another chance? Will he or she contact me again? These are good horary because they involve desire, they involve urgency, they involve emotional weight, and they involve 2 clear actors, you and them. The bad love questions can be: will I find love someday? You can find this in natal chart. Am I unlovable? Okay, go to therapy, not to horary. Is my soulmate alive? We are not doing medieval paranormal investigation here, so not a good question for a horary chart. When it's about money and financial decisions, people get surprisingly calm about heartbreak, but panic like wild when money is involved. And it's understandable. This makes financial questions excellent for horary. For example, good questions can be: should I accept this job offer? Will I get the promotion? Will this investment work out? Can I trust this business partner? But the bad financial questions could be: will I be rich someday? This can find out in natal chart. Should I win the lottery? You don't need a horary, you need probability theory. Will money come easily to me? No way, the chart already knows you are asking from a place of denial. When it's about career and vocation, career questions are wonderful because they are practical, time-sensitive, full of real-world consequences. So the best question can be: is this the right career path? Should I quit my job now? Will I be accepted into this program? Should I move for career opportunities? These are very good, but the bad questions can be: what is my life purpose? This is in your natal chart. What job is meant for me? This is for a vocational astrology interpretation. Should I go viral on TikTok? Maybe stop asking horary and start filming. Doing is getting the result. When it's about lost objects, this is where horary becomes really good. Horary can literally reveal where your keys are, where your documents are, where your ring have been lost, where a missing animal went, where a stolen item might be found. So ideal questions could be: where is the missing object and will I recover it? The chart can tell you the room, direction, condition, person involved, if it's the case, hidden details. It's spooky how accurate this can get. About legal questions. Legal trouble is Saturn's favorable playground. So ideal questions in this situation can be: will I win the case? Is this lawyer trustworthy? Will this legal issue resolve in my favor? Horary is extremely efficient here because legal situations are binary. Yes or no. It's tense and is time sensitive. When it's about health questions, horary is not a replacement for medical diagnosis. However, it can be useful for this kind of questions. Is this a serious issue? Will I recover soon? Is the doctor competent? Should I pursue treatment open A or B? Never use horary as an alternative to medical care, but do use it to gain clarity when it's about spiritual or personal questions. Horary works for: is this teacher or mentor trustworthy? Is this spiritual path right for me? Should I attempt this ritual? Is this house or land spiritually safe? Horary works beautifully with spiritual questions because ancient astrology operated inside the spiritual worldview. But just remember, not all existential questions are horary questions. Let's see what questions you should never use horary for. Questions you don't actually care about. If you don't have emotional investment, the chart will be a mess. Questions you already know the answer to. If you are hoping the chart will magically tell you what you want to hear, no, it's not the case. Questions asked out of boredom. The chart will literally refuse to speak. This is called a stricture and is the universe's way of saying stop asking nonsense. Questions you ask 20 times in a row. The universe does not reward spam. Questions that violate another person's privacy, such as: what trauma does my boyfriend have? What is my coworker planning? What is my ex thinking right now? Horary can give insights into the relationship, not into the private mind of other people. It's not moral. And questions that try to override free will. Horary answers where things are heading. It does not allow you to manipulate anyone. Let's see the exact moment to cast the chart. You cast the chart when the question becomes emotionally ripe. You feel it. It hits you. It strengthens you, excites, confuses, or pressures you. If you don't feel anything, the chart won't work. The astrologer can also cast the chart when they fully understood the question. In traditional practice, the astrologer casts the chart in the moment when they receive and understand the question. The question becomes alive for them, and both approaches are valid. That's why even I, when I don't understand the question, I send back some questions to understand exactly what the client wants to say. If you ask the question at 3 a.m. in bed, but wait 2 days to cast the chart, you miss the idea of horary chart. If you randomly cast charts without anchoring them in emotional reality, they fail. Horary is not theoretical, it is experiential. How to phrase your question? If the question is unclear, the answer will also be the same. So, the best is: will or should I take action X regarding situation Y? For example, should I accept this job offer? Or will he contact me again? Or should I move to this new apartment? Or will the deal go through? So avoid the following kind of questions. What's going to happen? Is this good? What does the universe want me to know? Tell me the meaning behind everything. Horary is not a mystical fortune cookie. Anyway, be specific, clear, and grounded. In Hellenistic astrology, everything that begins has a chart. A child, a king's reign, a weather storm, a business, a marriage, a journey, an event. So, of course, a burning question also has a beginning. The horary is simple. The birth chart of question. This is why the question needs to be clear, honest, and ripe, and emotionally meaningful. In Horary astrology, the moon reflects your mind, and your mind must be ready. In Horary, the mean is the current emotional state, the flow of events, the unfolding story, the mover of the question. When your inner state is chaotic, anxious, unclear, or ambivalent, the moon appears void of course, in full or treatment, combust, cadent, stuck, separated, afflicted by malefics on all sides. So, in translation, it means if your mind is a mess, the chart reflects the mess. This is the astrological basis for ask only when clear, ask only when sincere, ask only when the issue has ripened, ask only when stable enough to accept the answer. The moon is the question. A clear moon is a clear answer. A messy moon is about confusion, contradiction. The horary is less about how you feel, but more about what's actually happening, what the other person is doing, what institutions are deciding, what lies behind the scenes, what outcomes are set into motion, what hidden but real, what's forming in the fabric of events. For example, if malefic placements warns against asking at the wrong moment. For example, if Saturn is on the ascendant of the question, querent is unclear, heavy, blocked, or fearful. The question may be too early, depressed, or pessimistic. Or if the Mars is on the ascendant, querent is angry, impulsive, reactive. Question is driven by conflict or impatience. But if the malefics are on the 7th house, the astrologer judgment can be blocked. The chart is unreadable. The moment is not astrologically safe. Or if the malefics are on the 10th house, answer is murky, professional advice compromised. Ancient astrologers took very seriously. You are not supposed to force a chart into existence when Saturn and Mars are trying to tell you, not now, step away from the software. So you give the client back the money, and we talk about this when you are more aware about the situation. Early and late degrees reveal timing issues. For example, if rising sign of the chart is between 0 and 3 degrees, the question is premature. Not enough information exists yet. If it is between 27 and 29 degrees, the situation is almost concluded. The question may be too late. The diamond of the hour matters. Traditional horary checks whether the ruler of the hour agrees with the ruler of the ascendant, or the planetary nature of the question, or the chart's overall topic. When the hour ruler and ascendant ruler mismatch or act hostile, it often means the question is forced, the moment lacks coherence, the querent isn't centered, the cosmos isn't aligned with the inquiry. Also, the whole sign system of the houses were the default during the Hellenistic period, and for horary they create cleaner house rulership, clearer significators, simple testimonies, fewer contradictions, more literal outcomes. The whole sign system logic reinforces why timing matters. When not to cast a horary chart. When you are in emotional chaos, when the question is too early, I mean it's not clear in your mind, or the question is too late. It's like you already know the answer, but anyway you put the question. So I will make a quick recap. The perfect horary question formula. Calm your mind, be specific, ensure the event is real and active. You must be involved in the action. Timing must be right. Chart must be radical. Ask only once per situation. Matter must be significant. Be open and sincere. Avoid fear-driven questions. Check external obstructions. Outcome must be actionable. Horary astrology is an ancient tool for modern life. It shows the unfolding truth behind questions that matter and can reveal hidden dynamics, timing, obstacles, outcomes, opportunities. But it requires respect. It means ask at the right time when you feel ready, especially emotionally. Avoid trivial, premature, or fear-driven questions. So, have you ever put a question to an astrologer and the answer have been proven correctly? In which field of life have been the question? I'm waiting your questions and comments down below. Until next time, I wish you all the best. Bye-bye.